Back when I was 17, my first real girlfriend texted me one night to be like, "Parents are on a date night. Come over and we'll have the place to ourselves." Yep, the text that every young man waits for, the one that makes everything around you glow in gold while you hear the voice of God saying, "My son, you have been chosen. Now go forth and multiply." I've been planning on a night of Modern Warfare 3 with the boys, but within minutes, I was in the shower scrubbing the enamel off my teeth in order to become a little mint, drowning myself in cologne and raiding my brother's rubber stash for an entire platoon's worth. I remember texting her like, "Want me to bring anything over? I got a few Red Barons." And she just replied, "Nah, just bring yourself." What a feeling, dude. Girlfriend is home alone and all she wants delivered is me. So I rushed to finish off getting dressed, spent like 5 straight minutes in the mirror making sure I looked fresh and clean. So fresh and so clean. And then I was ready to go. The walk over to my girlfriend's place took like 20 minutes, so from the time of getting the text to me actually arriving, couldn't have been any more than an hour. She had one of those long driveways too, not like some southern manor house or anything like that, but enough so you got a long look at the house as you were walking up to it. Then right as I'm about halfway up the driveway, I see someone walking through one of the upstairs bedrooms who was definitely not my girlfriend. I stop dead in my tracks, look up at this guy, and I've got this weird mix of anger and confusion and just utterly feeling a little bit heartbroken. I whip out my phone, dial my girlfriend's number, only to find her phone is switched off. My head is just swimming with negative thoughts. I think I was about to have a panic attack, like I just couldn't believe she'd do that to me. I was checking if I had the right house, double-checking the upstairs bedroom, like 100% certain that I'd just seen someone, but also telling myself, no way, I must be hallucinating or something. But nope. That same dude in the green hoodie walks through her parents' bedroom again, like all the way in and then all the way out. But on the way out, he sees me and he stops and stares at me. He's looking at me like, "Who are you, my guy?" Where I'm looking at him like, "Me? Who are you?" But as I'm looking, I notice there's something weird about his face. It's all distorted. And then it hits me that his face is all distorted because he's wearing like literal pantyhose over his head, like a meme of a bank robber or something. Then right as I'm thinking like, what kind of weird stuff is this? I'm like, oh no, he's not a meme. He's literally robbing the place. I just panicked and ran back down the driveway before dialing 911. But then as I'm giving the operator all the details, I realized that my arrival might have prompted something bad to happen to my girlfriend. I ended up running back up the driveway, kicking on the door and shouting up at the window, "Cops are on their way. You better get out of there." I added a few expletives, but I won't say them here. I didn't hear anyone shouting back. In fact, I couldn't hear anything going on inside at all. But that didn't mean there wasn't anything going on. The intruders, home invaders, whatever you want to call them, they could have been doing anything to my girlfriend in there. And that's if they hadn't done something irreversible already. Waiting those few minutes for the cops to arrive was agony, but the dispatcher promised me that they'd roll up with their lights and sirens blaring to try and scare the intruders off. We later found out that worked like a charm, but no one realized that until we were inside and my girlfriend was safe. She was scared to death, but she was okay, and it turned out that my timing had been absolutely impeccable. The 2 guys that broke in through the rear door of the house had only just tied her up in her bedroom and were right in the middle of ransacking the house when I showed up. And yes, they were actually wearing pantyhose. Seems kind of ridiculous, but the cops told me it's the smart choice for home invaders, I guess. You get pulled over with a ski mask in your passenger seat in Florida, questions are going to be asked. But a pair of pantyhose, you could just shrug it off and say, "Oh, that's just Mima's laundry day," or something, and there's no probable cause. Needless to say, when the cops left, we were way too shaken up for any alone time, and my girlfriend was in no mood to hang out at a place that had just gotten broken into, so we ended up going back to my parents' place to hang out. Nothing in the way of privacy, so I didn't get the explosive evening I'd been hoping for, but still, it was just cool to have been the one to have saved her, as she put it. I didn't save anyone. Those dudes only bailed when the cops showed up, but still, you can bet I took all the credit she wanted to give me. We ended up dating until maybe our sophomore year of college. After that, neither of us could handle the distance, but we still keep in touch, and I'm pretty sure our little post-relationship friend status is rooted solely in that mild shared trauma of having confronted a pair of home invaders together. Back when I was just an 11-year-old kid, my entire life was almost completely ruined on a Friday night in June. My mom and dad went out to some work-related event after dinner and told me they'd be back at around midnight. They gave me $20 to order takeout from somewhere, told me to not stay up too late, then just left me to it. I had a great time, at first anyway, just stuffing my face and watching cartoons until I passed out on the couch surrounded by candy wrappers. I'm not sure how long later, but I woke up and immediately I can tell something is different. I know it might sound weird when I say I could feel like a breeze on my face from the back door being open, but when you live somewhere for that long, I feel like you can pick up little subtle environmental changes. The point is, I got up to check the back door and what do you know? It's wide open. I didn't remember opening it before I nodded off, but since I was so sleepy, I didn't put too much thought into it, and I just closed the door, turned off the TV and downstairs lights, then started walking up the stairs to my bedroom. And that's when I hear it, the soft, barely audible sound of crying. It wasn't like a full-on bawling sound, more like softly sobbing, but it definitely sounded like a full-grown man doing the crying, and it was definitely coming from inside our house. I am like pant-wettingly scared, and when I get to the top of the stairs, I can see that someone, definitely not me, has pulled down the ladder to our attic. And whoever it was upstairs in the dark, quietly crying to themselves. I'm not sure I can really put that kind of fear I felt into words, and just as I begin to think to myself, just get out of there, just run to the neighbor's place, I hear the crying stop, followed by not footsteps, but movement up in the attic. That's what freezes me in place, like a deer in headlights, and all I could do was keep my eyes glued to the opening of the ceiling. I remember seeing something. It was like a monster with a red face that drooled when it saw me. But that's only because I lost a little piece of my sanity that night, a piece that I don't ever really think I got back. It obviously wasn't a monster. It was just a person, a very sick one at that. They were in the middle of a compound nervous breakdown, complete paranoid schizophrenic. They thought they were trapped in the wrong body, and so they tried to peel their face off by cutting it to find their real face. At least that's what I was told later. After they realized that they were trapped in their own body, this woman ran for her sister's place, where she was being cared for, and somehow randomly picked our yard to climb into. Then, looking for a place to hide, she went up into our attic, appearing in the hatch to scare the sanity out of me. So, you can see why that might just cause a kid to, well, lose his mind for a while and rationalize it by telling themselves, that wasn't a person back there. People were good. People were normal. What I saw was a monster, or a demon, anything but a person. After I ran to my neighbors, after the police went through their investigation and my parents came home and everything was said and done, I had to be homeschooled for a while, and I think I had my own little psychotic break. Or rather, I know I did. It made life almost unbearable for my parents, and they were infinitely patient with me, something I'll never stop paying them back for. I suppose some of you might not care who or what I am now, but for those of you that do, be glad to know that I'm doing okay. My wife doesn't know about what happened to me when I was a kid. I never had the heart to tell her. I know all it'll do is upset her and make her worry, and I've had quite enough of that for one lifetime. I think she suspects something, though, What with the way I'm basically obsessed with home security, and maybe that's just a mark of what a good woman she is. She doesn't probe me. She just patiently waits for me to talk about whatever it is when I'm good and ready.